burlesque pieces and was soon the star of the show. By the time the act finished touring in July of 1907, he was 18 years old and had become an accomplished comedic performer.
Okay.
After that, he joined a troupe that toured in America because, of course, people think he's most famous for the silent films he did here in America.
Right.
He toured America's vaudeville circuit with his troupe and he headed the variety show and was described as one of the best pantomime artists ever seen. So there's pantomime again.
Right.
And then, of course, the New York Motion Picture Company picked him up while he was here.
Right.
And was like, we got to get you on film.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, Charlie Chaplin, absolutely a clown.
Some of the stuff that absolutely holds up today, doing research for this, it's still... Buster Keaton is somebody else.
Yes.
That just hilarious skits.
He's my favorite.
Okay.
If you've seen any of his films, you know.
Well, we've got some clips again. You can check those out.
I have some information here on Buster Keaton if you're interested.
Well, what about him?
Well, he was actually born in 1895.
Okay.
Same year as my grandfather.
Wow.
And he lived until 1966. He was an American actor, comedian, film director, producer, screenwriter, and stunt performer. And there's a reason for that. I have a little story here to read to you that I bet you haven't heard before.
Okay.
But before that, though, we'll say he was best known for his silent films, in which his trademark was physical comedy with a consistent, stoic, deadpan expression, earning him the nickname the Great Stone Face.
Okay.
Yes. And he was born into a vaudeville family. And at the age of 3, he was performing with his mom and dad, and they were billed as the Three Keatons. Okay.
I remember you showing me a photo or something of that.
Yeah, there's some photos of he and his mom and dad on I'm not
the
sure
age
what
of 3.
I was on.
Okay.
Yes. And he appeared on stage, and it was a comedy sketch. So right from the get-go, he was doing comedy with his mom and dad, and he was great at the physical comedy, and I can tell you why. And I think I'm just going to straight up read this, because if I try to tell you, I'm going to miss something. So.
Okay.
And I promise you this whole podcast isn't going to just be us reading from... yeah, I know I'm going to leave something out.
Go ahead and read it. Okay. We'll read this segment right here.
Here we go.
Okay.
Well, this has to do with the stage act he did with his parents when he was 3. He started when he was 3. This was mostly, I think they said he was 5 years old when they started doing this particular bit. All right, the young Keaton would goad his father by disobeying him, and the elder Keaton would respond by throwing him against the scenery, into the orchestra pit, or even into the audience.
Okay.
A suitcase handle was sewn into Keaton's clothing to aid with the constant tossing.
Oh my God.
The act evolved as Keaton learned to take trick falls safely. This knockout style of comedy led to accusations of child abuse and occasionally arrests.
That's the first thing I was thinking of. What the heck?
However, Buster Keaton was always able to show the authorities that he had no bruises or broken bones, and he was eventually billed as the little boy who can't be damaged. With the overall act...
Funny you just reading it to me.
I know. And the overall act being advertised as, quote, the roughest act that was ever in the history of the stage. And in interviews decades later, Keaton said that he was never hurt by his father and that the falls in physical comedy were a matter of proper technical execution.
Wow.
Which, of course, he continued into adulthood. He was a crazy stuntman.
That's awesome, though, having the handles actually sewn into the top.
I know. Could you imagine throwing your kid into the orchestra pit and stuff?
Oh, my gosh.
Okay, and so Keaton claimed he was having so much fun that he would sometimes begin laughing as his father threw him across the stage. Noticing that this drew fewer laughs from the audience, he adopted his famous deadpan expression whenever he was working.
Wow, that's interesting.
Yes.
That's wow.
Yeah,
That's
and the first film he was in was called The Butcher Boy, and that was 1917.
Okay.
So yeah, there you go.
All right.
Buster Keaton films are the best, and yeah, that deadpan expression is hilarious because like there's the most ludicrous, crazy things going on all around him, and he's just stoic. It's just so funny.
That's awesome.
So yes, is he a clown?
He's a clown.
He's a
there
clown.
You go. People don't hate. Well, whatever. I get it if you say you do, but continue listening.
Well, many people would not know they were clowns.
They wouldn't. Yes, they would not know the definite. Well, now they know.
Yes.
All right.
So how about that corporate mascot that is so famous? Do you know what clown I'm talking about?
Yes, I do.
You do?
I do.
People don't hate him, do they?
Some people do. It depends. I don't know.
Who are we talking
It
about?
depends. We're, of course, talking about Ronald McDonald.
Yes.
Yeah. And now, there was something about him and Willard Scott. Maybe.
Yes.
Okay.
Actually.
Yeah.
Ronald McDonald, in the beginning, he was Ronald McDonald, but he had a subtitle.
Okay.
The Hamburger Happy Clown.
Oh, all right.
Yes. And he first appeared in 1963 on 3 separate television spots.
Okay.
Willard Scott, who was playing Bozo the Clown on television at the time, claims to have created Ronald McDonald.
Really? Okay.
He says in his book that he was approached by the restaurant to create a character that mixed clowns and hamburgers because they were 2 things that kids couldn't resist.
Okay.
So McDonald's thought, what's hot right now? Oh my gosh, the kids love clowns.
Okay.
Bozo is so huge, kids love clowns. We want a new mascot. Let's do a clown.
What year was that? I'm sorry.
1963.
And he's still around today. They still use him?
Now I'm going to tell you that many people work full-time making appearances in the Ronald McDonald costume, visiting children in hospitals, attending regular events. And there are also Ronald McDonald houses, of course, where parents can stay overnight when visiting sick children in nearby chronic care facilities.
Right.
That, of course, is the Ronald McDonald house.
Right.
Yeah, you can donate online. You can stick your spare change when you're ordering at McDonald's, and you get your change. They've got the little slots there.
This was the first time that I ever noticed a difference in a clown.
Yeah.
When they switched him up for the TV, I was really sensitive to that. I didn't think so.
Really?
Does that make sense? I mean, just watching it on TV, and I'm like, oh, that's not the Ronald. That's not the,
That's not Ronald.
It stuck with me that
Imposter.
That's somebody else. Hey, they switched it up on me. I don't know.
Well, I think sometimes, you figure if you're painting the face and all of that, it doesn't matter what the features underneath look like, but you can still see them. It matters.
Absolutely.
Just like with Bozo.
Yeah.
I mean, some of those, that one Bozo we were looking at online had the pointy, it was like when he smiled, he lost the roundness of his, which we'll talk about
We'll
pointy
talk about that later. Yeah, that's.
But yes, traditionally clowns have very rounded mouths, rounded eyes.
Features.
Yeah,
for a very
features.
Specific purpose. That's one of the things, again, we talked about the other allied arts. You've got to know psychology. You've got to know there's more that goes into being a clown than just
exactly
being a clown.
Because there's a way to do it wrong.
There sure is.
And we're going to talk about that in a little bit here.
Wrong.
Okay, well.
Who else do you say is doing clowns right?
Well, you've already mentioned Mr. Bean.
Yeah.
He, of course, is a character created by Rowan Atkinson and Richard Curtis.
Yeah.
And stars Rowan Atkinson as the title character.
Yes.
This is funny because it says the character of Mr. Bean was developed while Rowan Atkinson was studying for his master's degree in electrical engineering at Queen's College, Oxford.
There's so many things I think about him, because I don't just think about him as Mr. Bean.
You don't imagine him being an electrical engineer?
No, I think of him as Blackadder. I think about all the acting he's done. I would never guess.
All silly.
I never would guess that he was. Well, Blackadder, he wasn't silly. He was the buffoon. He was the butt of the most of the jokes. Right. But yeah, I would never imagine. It was silly. It was comedy.
You don't think of him as being in Othello or anything,
right.
up on it.
You might even think of him as being a Doctor Who, but that's that's going deep for. Yeah. Actually, Darren probably got that. Anyhow.
Yes.
Yeah.
But yes, so he has his. Maybe he went on and got even more degrees, but
who knows?
But yes, he was getting his master's.
Okay.
And Mr. Bean is described by Atkinson as a child in a grown man's body. He solves various problems presented by everyday tasks and often causing disruption in the process.
Oh my gosh.
Bean rarely speaks.
Yeah.
And the largely physical humor of the series is derived from his interactions with other people and his unusual solutions to situations.
Well, talk about unusual solutions. I've got one. Well, you'll just have to go to the notes. Go to Podomatic, check out the notes. You'll see the clip on YouTube that I'm talking about. Now, on a more serious note.
Well, the series was influenced by physical performance and comic actors from silent films.
Absolutely. We're back to this.
So that ties Mr. Bean back to Chaplin and Keaton.
Absolutely. What can I say about the next clown performer? I got to hug him. I guess that's what I can say.
You got to hug him. You're obviously not scared of clowns.
I'm not scared of clowns, and certainly not, despite how big the dude is. He is huge. I'm talking about Puddles. And if you've been to our page or whatever, you've probably seen it, because I'm very proud of that video where he dragged me on stage and sang happy birthday to me.
Yes.
It was awesome, though. And it was fun to be part of that, to just, that's what clowns should be.
Yes.
To me, that's what clowns, you should know the exhilaration and fun that I did when I sat on stage, and all he did was drag a chair. I don't think you see all that in the video and stuff, but he takes probably like a minute to drag a chair across the stage for me to sit down.
Oh, it didn't take a minute.
To sit down on. Once he has me sitting down, he puts me in the chairs, starts singing happy birthday, gave me a big balloon and a party hat and so on, and a big hug when we left there. But damn, that's a big dude. He makes me look small.
He's 6'8".
Wow.
So it's okay.
Yeah.
Well, Puddles is an Atlanta, Georgia-based singer and entertainer, performing as Puddles Pity Party. He's known for appearing in YouTube videos since 2013.
That's all. It seems like he's done it forever, but...
Most notably with Scott Bradley's Postmodern Jukebox.
Okay, you know what? We had another friend that, when he heard that we had gone to see Puddles, was very excited for us.
Yeah.
Other friends like, how do you even know what this thing is? And he's like, Postmodern Jukebox.
Yeah.
And
a lot of people discovered him through there.
We're talking about, like, everybody knows. Maybe everybody that listens to the podcast because they hate clowns doesn't know about him. But he was on America's Got Talent. So I've got that clip.
I have something about that here.
What about that?
Well, we're kind of jumping ahead.
Sorry.
But that's okay. Well, I was going to say, most of the songs he performs are covers of recent hits. Mm-hmm. Puddles is noted for his distinctive white face clown costume, baritone singing voice, depressed persona.
This is the one exception.
Not speaking on stage or in interviews, and his unusual height of 6'8".
Yeah. This is the one time I'm going to give it up to a sad clown, because when he sings, it is it's just amazing. And look at, again, well, if they hate clowns, they maybe haven't listened to us this deep into the episode. But look at the expression. I wonder how many
people have tuned out.
I don't know.
Everybody who is still listening, yay! Thank you so much.
Look at the kids' expressions when he comes out there and they first see a clown. Doesn't matter that he's a sad clown or whatever to start with. They get excited on America's Got Talent.
In 2017, just this year, like a month ago, Puddles participated in season 12 of the reality series